Grace and peace, fam. How y'all doing tonight? Grace and peace to all of you. Blessings, and thank you so much for coming in. Thank y'all for being a part. Once again, I'm Shonda at Large. And family, we got some things we're going to be talking about tonight. I'm so thankful for all of you who showed up last week for the 2-year anniversary for our 714 movement. It was a blessed night. If you didn't get an opportunity to fellowship with us, to be a part of the prayer, then you want to go back and you want to check it out. You definitely want to go back and check it out. Just want to make sure my volume is up, just make sure y'all can hear me. We just had a powerful night of prayer, covering a range of topics. And along with the prayer, I started a specific channel for the 714 movement. Now I'm still in the process of uploading videos on there, so thank you for those of you who have subscribed already. I'll probably be putting in the description link the actual channel for those of you who are interested in prayer all the time, because really the 714 movement channel is going to be dedicated to all prayer all the time, and not just me praying, not just for our live corporate prayers, which I'll still post on this channel for the most part until we get an adequate amount of subscribers. But this channel is dedicated to you. It's dedicated for you to be able to cry out to the Most High on behalf of your people, on behalf of the body of Christ, for any time, at any time. You just want to shoot me an email at prayer@the714movement.com, and I will give you instructions on how to upload your video so that we can get your video on the channel. So if you're interested, if you feel led, you've been feeling like the Most High has been leading you to intercessory prayer, then this is your opportunity. This is the platform that is dedicated to Yasharal, to the body of Christ, 100% prayer. Your prayer could be 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever the Most High is leading you. But I know y'all know we need prayer. I know y'all know in this day and age we need lots and lots of prayer. I know I do. Family, I need prayer, okay? All right? And I know I'm not the only one. So again, that channel is going to be dedicated to the family for prayer. So speaking of the family, I want to say peace and blessings to all of you before we get started. So as always, peace and blessings to you, Brother Darnell. Glad to have you in the building. My sister Ruhama in the building. Grace and peace to you. Always good to see you, sis. The messenger, shalom, shalom. Peace and blessings to you. Sister Mariah up in the building. Shalom, my sister. How are you? Miss you. Love you. All right. Sister Stacy Pullen, peace and blessings. Peace and blessings to you. And yes, shout out to the moderators. Shout out to the moderators. Hey, listen, if you want to be a moderator on the Shonda at Large, just reach out to me. I don't like to put people in positions that they didn't ask for, but if you want to be a moderator on the channel, just reach out to me at shondaatlarge11@gmail.com, and we can get you set up. All right, let's see who else we have on here. Israelite wife Desiree. Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings to you, my sister. Sister Nia Zeki in the building. Shalom to you as well. Good to see you, sis. Joy 31608. Shalom to you. Peace and blessings. Brooke Queen Yisrael up in the place. Blessings, my sister. Powerful night of prayer, huh, sis? I know that's right. Yah is good. My brother Karis Copeland in the building. Give my brother a hand clap. Doing a phenomenal job over there at Covenant Awakenings. I was blessed to be able to catch him. Usually I'll listen to the replay, but I was blessed to be able to catch him actually on a live. Matter of fact, the day before, I believe it was the day before or the day of our prayer last week, and I was listening to him, and he's just doing such a phenomenal job, just every morning encouraging the brethren. Y'all know we need encouragement, just keeping us on the steady path. So y'all continue to lift my brother up in prayer and support his work over there at Covenant Awakenings. Man, my brother DB up in the building, Elephant Man Podcast Network. My bro, I was listening to your broadcast as well the other day. Powerful, powerful stuff. Really good to have you back. I know you've been away from your channel. I can understand that. Life happens, but glad to have you back. I didn't say anything in the comments, but I was definitely listening. So glad to have you up in here tonight. Peace and blessings, Crystal Smith. Shalom, shalom to you. All right, who else do we have in here? Oh, so much family in here. Jason Camphor, peace and blessings to you. Glad to have you here. Vincent Rollins, peace and blessings. We got Mark Stewart. All right, we got my brother Stay on Fire Ministry. Peace and blessing to you, my brother. And definitely reach out to me, Stay on Fire Ministry. So glad to have you on the platform last week in prayer. Just shoot me an email to shinethatlarge11@gmail.com if you'd like to contribute some prayers to the 714 movement channel as well. All right, we got Jessica Figure. Shalom, shalom. Who else do we have here? I don't want to miss anybody. I think I covered everybody. All right, well, praise Yahuwah. All right, family, so we're going to go ahead and dig in and get started. Let me go ahead and get rid of that music a little bit. There we go. All right, so let's see. What are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about a lot of things. But before I get started on the actual conversation about Animal Farm, I wanted to discuss some semi-breaking news. Is breaking a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and put that discussion out there. I don't know if y'all are familiar with what's going on as of late with the whole pro-abortion and the protests that have been taking place, but let me share this with y'all right here. Let me make sure it gets up. All right. Okay. That's not the one I was looking for. Darn it, moved ahead of myself. All right, I apologize on that. Yeah, that's one of the things I'm going to show later on. Okay, here it is. Hopefully this one is the one that will pop up. There we go. All right. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, and 15 other Democrats arrested near the Supreme Court during abortion rights protests. Y'all, they arresting Congress people out this place. These are Congress women, yes. Y'all know what they call them, what do they call them? The 5 or the 4 or whatever it is that they call them. These congresswomen that are supposed to be like the new progressive congresswomen, they're out there and they're marching, and they got arrested. I guess, for civil disobedience. So it says more than a dozen Democrat lawmakers were arrested near the Supreme Court on Tuesday as they protested the conservative majority's decision last month to overturn federal abortion rights. So goes on to tell you who these women are. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York, Ilhan Omar of Minnesota. Now, if y'all don't know about Ilhan Omar, she was actually booed on stage not too long ago by the Somalian community in Minnesota. She was booed. Like, they booed her. They said she stands for none of our values. She is a shill. We don't like her. I mean, it was embarrassing. I saw the whole thing. It was just so embarrassing. But she was now arrested. Rashida Tlaib of Michigan and Cori Bush of Missouri were among the group of Democratic lawmakers who gathered at the steps of the Capitol and marched toward the Supreme Court as a part of civil disobedience rally. So they arrested them, and pretty much the attitude that Ilmar or Elon, however you pronounce her name, that her people took was, hey, this has happened before. Congress people get arrested. Congresswomen, they get arrested before. It's not a big deal. But, the thing about this, which really kind of just like, took me a little bit back, is that when you have these abortion advocates, right, they're really pushing and promoting this idea of women's rights and my body, my choice. I said, let me do a little bit of digging, and I'm sure I'm not going to have to go very far. I'm not going to have to go very far on this, but let me go ahead and do a little bit of digging just to see what these women's stance has been concerning the issue of, y'all know what I'm talking about. Now, y'all already know, and I'm going to put it out here like this. Y'all already know my channel was on strike. So I have to be uber careful about the things that I say. So I will show and you can read. All right. Reading is fundamental. But take a look here at Congresswoman Cori Bush. So she holds a C19 virtual town hall. All right. Now, this, of course, took place last year. But I want y'all to see how the same woman is my body, my choice. Okay. She was pushing and promoting this C19, okay? She says, we're here to talk about the C19 blaster and the relief. We're nearing almost 1 full year since this virus upended our lives, our economy, health, and our ability to socialize and be with those we love. More than 26 million people across the country have been infected, and over 400,000 people have lost their lives. So in this town hall meeting, she is pushing, because here she goes now. It's no secret that this pandemic has disproportionately devastated Black and brown communities. Those buzzwords. Let's talk about the Black folk. Black folk are 3 times more likely to die from COVID-19 than white people. We're more likely to be evicted from our homes, face unemployment, and despite all we know and what we found out from the pandemic started, we're less likely to have access to AV. So now she's talking about being encouraged by the steps that the Biden-Harris administration is taking with the mask mandate and, of course, with the jab. So I'm listening to this and I'm saying, my body, my choice. I don't understand. It's not computing. It's not computing to me because these women, for all this my body, my choice, you can't tell me what to do with this and you can't tell me what to do with that. If you look, you will see that every single one of them are guilty of the same exact thing. And here, I'm going to show y'all here. Now we're looking at Rashida Tlaib. Now, she is interesting because she says Israel, y'all know the state, is racist for denying the vax to the Palestinians. Now, I think she's supposed to be Palestinian. But if y'all know about the state of Israel, they're like one of the highest rates of people of places where the vax was distributed. But she said they're racist because they're not giving it out to the Palestinians. So now she's pulling the racist card, okay? Now, it's a false claim that they were denying access to the vaccines to Palestinians, but she's wanting to push this idea. Again, this is the same woman who's like, my body, my choice, right? Don't push this on me. But they're using all this mental programming to try to force something on people that they don't want. People don't want it. People don't want it, but they're pushing this on us. And we're going to get into it because this is all a part of the discussion that we're going to have today. We're going to be talking about a lot of this stuff when it comes to pushing the narrative. Let's take a look here at AOC. Alexandria. How do you say it? Ocasio-Cortez. All right. She records herself getting it for Instagram. Okay? My body, my choice. So they all seem to choose the same thing. Isn't it interesting? So AOC records her experience of getting the C19 and shared it with her 8.2 million Instagram followers. The freshman representative of parts of the Bronx and the Queens on Friday night shared video of herself and the lead up to the shot, including filling out a questionnaire, the injection itself, as well as how she felt afterward. I would never ask you to do something I wasn't willing to do myself. Aha, right. Now, I don't know about y'all. Maybe it's just my little conspiratorial side, but I personally don't believe that these people got what they say they got. I personally believe that these people, they got some saline. You understand what I'm saying? They got some saline. They didn't get the real deal. These are fakers. Thank you so much, sis, for the gift. I appreciate that. And I also want to thank you, my brother Vincent, for your gift as well. So the final person I want to go and take a look at, because hers is actually very interesting. I thought she was so clever in how she approached hers. Ilhan Omar says she won't get the V because people who need it most should get it. She shames all of Congress and says it's shameful. It's shameful that all of you would get it first when all of these people out here need it more than we do. Oh, I thought that was too cute. I thought that was too funny the way she came at that situation. But she said, no, she put on that virtue signaling, right? No, I will not get it until all of the people who need it out there get theirs. Okay? So she said, no, don't give that stuff to me. And I still have not been able to find out information about whether or not she actually went ahead and got hers. But it was rather funny. It's funny to me because these are the same people that push this idea that it's about my body and my choice, when in reality, they are just going along with the program. They're doing exactly what the program has told them to do. And that's really what we're going to be talking about today, y'all. We got a lot of information to cover. I just wanted to address that whole situation with these congresswomen getting arrested because they're upset because Roe v. Wade was overturned, and they want to push this narrative that is all about my body, my choice. But these are the same people that were pushing for this vax when people were saying, hey, it's my body and I choose it, I don't want it. Do you understand what I'm saying? But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about Animal Farm. All right? Because I don't know if y'all are familiar with Animal Farm. And go ahead and put the likes up so we can get more people in the building so they can take a listen to this. All right? Now, put a 1 in the chat if Animal Farm was required reading when you were in school. Put a 1 in the chat. Y'all know about that book. That's right, 1619 Brew. They said, trust the science. Okay, so we got some ones. We got Brew Queen. All right. Stacy Fuller says, no, it wasn't required reading for you. Okay. Brother DB says, yes, it was required reading. Okay, so we got a couple of 1s. We got a couple of 2s. Now, if you don't remember, then it probably was not required reading. Okay. All right. Yes. Okay. Because those who remember that was required reading, y'all know what that book was about. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the book Animal Farm, I'm going to give you a little bit of background on that book. Okay, so you had animals that were on a farm, obviously, and you had the man who was taking care of the animals. But the man wasn't doing a very good job of taking care of the animals. The man treated the animals very poorly. And so the man, in treating animals very poorly, got the animals to the point where they were so exhausted with the simply the slavery of it all, that they decided to have a committee meeting. And so the animals all came together, and the pigs were the more intelligent animals out of all of them. So, of course, who conducted the meetings was the pigs. But they all agreed. They had the horse, they had the chickens, they had every part of the farm animals coming together in agreement that they needed to rebel against the man. They had a theme song that went like this: 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. Okay, now y'all remember that. 4 legs good and 2 legs bad. So what ended up happening is they staged a coup. Okay, they came against the man. They came against them and they revolted. They had this entire thing set out where they were going to revolt against the man, and they were able to get the man off of his own farm and take over the farm. Okay? So, of course, now the intelligent pigs are the leaders of this farm, because the farm has still got to function, right? But it's got to function under new management. And the new management is going to be animal-led. So under the new direction in the new management of the animal farm now, you have these pigs who now have communicated with other humans outside of the original person who owned the farm. Now, as they communicate, and they're communicating for trade, and they're saying, well, we're going to give you what we have. We'll give you our eggs and we'll give you our milk, and you give us this and you give us that. And at first, the pigs were very much so in the corner of the animals. But as they began to integrate with man outside of the original farmers, they began to take favors from the man. They began to go, one rule they had as animals is that you were never supposed to go into the man's house. That was the one rule they had. Don't go in the man's house, because that house is a symbol of oppression. Don't go in his house. But they began to take favors. They began to get little things from the outside man. And all of a sudden now, with these negotiations, they began to change their thoughts and opinions about the other animals. All of a sudden now, they did not care as much about the benefit of the collective. They only began to care about themselves. So they got these favors like alcohol, and they began to get drunk. And next thing you know, these pigs find themselves in the one place they weren't supposed to go, in the house. Now, the other animals are starting to sense that there's something that's going on with these pigs. They're like, what is going on with the pigs? And they start to feel like, wait a minute. You've been spending too much time with these humans. But the animals had no recourse because they weren't intelligent enough to be able to form a coup against the pigs. They needed the pigs and their intelligence to be able to operate with the man and also operate the farm. They didn't have confidence in themselves to be able to go and take over the farm and get rid of the pigs. Okay? So eventually what ended up happening is they began to watch the pigs as they began to become erect. Now, you know the pigs stand on 4 legs, but the pigs now began to become erect, and they began to stand on 2 legs. They began to wear the clothes of the former farmer, and they began to sleep in the farmer's bed. And the story was so sad because at the end of the story, you saw how the animals had become manipulated by their very own. What was supposed to be their very own, they became manipulated by it. And the horse in the book, his name was Boxer. He was the hardest worker on the farm. But in the end, Boxer was killed at the hands of the pigs, and his hooves were sold to the glue factory. And that's pretty much how the story ends. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about Animal Farm is because what we're seeing in the world right now is essentially the same thing. Now, if y'all were with me a couple of weeks ago, you know I talked about 1984. That was a book written by George Orwell. Well, guess what was also written by George Orwell? This book, The Animal Farm. And let me tell you a little bit about Animal Farm here in terms of its importance to American society. Animal Farm was banned by the Soviets, but it was promoted by the CIA. I don't know if y'all know that. I don't know if you know that. It says there are many places in the world where George Orwell's satire Animal Farm has at one point or another been banned, making reading it an act of political bravery. To say that the U.S. is not one of these places is an understatement. Published in 1945 as the Second World War ended and the Cold War began, Animal Farm was made a selection of the Book of the Month Club and thus inducted into the mainstream of American culture. In the 1950s, the CIA funded an animated film version to be distributed throughout the world. If we're looking for a definition of the opposite of a banned book, a book that has received financial support from the CIA seems like a good candidate. Since then, it has become a book that many of us are forced to read in high school. We will not be reading Animal Farm because the ideas in it are dangerous. It's a statement unlikely to have been uttered by any American teacher unless that teacher was hoping to get fired for communist sympathies. Okay? But see, the CIA was the one who promoted this movie, and they promoted the book, this idea. They promoted the entire idea. And I personally believe that one of the reasons why the CIA and the U.S. government, period, would promote a book like The Animal Farm is because the powers that should not be always have to tell you what they do before they do it. They have to tell you who they are. Do you understand what I'm saying? They have to give you an understanding of who they are and what they stand for. They make you think that they are for the people. They make you think that they care about the people. They make you think that they want to change. And maybe initially when they joined the department, or maybe initially when they were in office, they cared. But once they get the favors, they stop caring. And they start to stand on 2 legs and become the oppressors. Now, I hope y'all are feeling me on that, because we're going to be talking about how they oppress us. We're going to be talking about food. Why not? Let's talk about food, because food is important. It's an important, essential ingredient to control. Many of you guys may have heard this story here. This is a story of armed feds who pay a visit to the Amish farmer, faces hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines. All right now. So I'm going to read a little bit about this. Amos Miller, an Amish farmer who runs a holistically managed small farm in Bird in Hand, Pennsylvania, grows and prepares food in tune with nature, the way he believes God intended. This seems like a sound idea to the approximately 4,000 customers who purchase Miller's meat, eggs, and dairy products from his private, members-only food club. The federal government, however, appears to disagree. A federal judge recently ordered Miller to cease and desist all meat sales. Our Organic Wellness reported U.S. Marshals were deployed to search Miller's property. They inventoried his stock to assure he doesn't sell or slaughter more animals. In other words, the feds shut Amos Miller down. Miller claims he's being persecuted by the federal government for practicing his religious freedom to grow and prepare food according to his religious beliefs. Now, this guy right here, this is a really, really sad situation, because what ended up happening was 2 years ago, this is the excuse that they make, 2 people in another state, they end up getting some sort of poison from drinking milk. I can't remember what it was, but they were drinking farm fresh milk 2 years ago. And they decided that because those people got sick, and the two people that got sick and died, because they got sick and died, they decided 2 years later to pin it on this guy and his Amish farm. They said, well, we think that you are responsible for the death of these 2 people. They called it an outbreak. And they said, we think you are responsible for the death of these 2 people. So therefore, we're going to come and we're going to raid your farm, and we are going to shut you down from being able to produce any meat, any farm, period. Now, they came in, and when I say they came in and raided that place. They raided it with guns, and they told him that at any time that they feel like coming in, that they can come into his property, morning, noon, or night. Morning, noon, or night. Now, family, this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with right now. We're dealing with that animal farm spirit where you say that you care. You say that you're concerned about America. You say you're concerned about the people of America. Remember, you left British rule. You left British oppression. Remember that we're supposed to have the freedom of expression. We're supposed to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Isn't that what they told us? But now you're seeing that there's draconian measures being placed on the average citizen. And the reason why there is draconian measures being placed on the average citizen is because the powers that should not be have to expose their hidden hand. Now, let me tell y'all, here's the thing, family. Don't get it twisted. This is not the first time this has happened to the Amish. Take a look at this. ATF raids Amish farmer, seizes his guns. Now, this is an excuse about this man's guns. They say, so far, no arrests have been made, and authorities are keeping mum about a raid on a property in the heart of Pennsylvania's Amish country around Lancaster. But the local paper has some intriguing suggestions about what's going on. And it sure looks like the BAT is getting ready to accuse an Amish farmer of being an unlicensed gun retailer. The raid on the property known as the Cattell Foundry took place 2 weeks ago, with agents carting off an untold number of guns. This week, LancasterOnline.com spoke with Reuben King, who says the guns were all his private property, though he admits that he has also sold several guns. Now, he goes on to say, listen, the Amish, we're not allowed to take pictures, okay? That's a part of our religious belief, is that we don't take pictures. So because we don't take pictures, when we get access to guns, we sell them to one another. And the reason why we sell them, we don't sell handguns, but the reason why we sell them is for hunting. We just want to be able to hunt. We want to be able to hunt so that we can obviously eat, right? Do you see how this is all going back to the control of even the food? It's going back to the control of the food. Now, they use the excuse of guns, but it's going back to the control of food. That's really what it boils down to. So they raided him, and because they raided him, they took everything from him. And that's where we're at. That's where we're at as a society. So when people are telling you, oh, just grow your own food, be able to do this and that. Oh, be careful. Be careful, family. Be careful on that. Because this ain't this is serious times. This is another one right here. Another one. Amish farmer. This happened back in 2012. Closes raw milk business after feds slap injunction on him. They slapped an injunction on him for over $200,000. Okay? $200,000. They told him he's not allowed to sell raw milk, even though it's not a crime to sell raw milk, and many states legally allow the selling of raw milk. They told him he's not allowed to sell raw milk. And so they harassed him to the point where he said, forget about it. Forget it. I'm just going to shut down my entire farm. So I'm going to shut it down. And that's where we're at, family. It's draconian measures taking place to put us in a place where we cannot even be dependent to do what is best for us and our families, take care of us, because they're going to put draconian measures on us. They're going to push us into this place where we as a people, we have to be reliant upon them for anything and everything. So I want to look at this scripture here. 1 Timothy 4. Now the Spirit speaks expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron, forbidding to marry, and commanding to abstain from meats, which the Most High hath created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth. For every creature of the Most High is good, and nothing to be refused, if it be received with thanksgiving, for it is sanctified by the word of Elohim and prayer. So I got to thinking about this verse, and I said, well, everything is beneficial. You have some people say, you can't eat meat. Meat is an abomination. It's anti-scripture. I've heard some people, even prominent vegans here, Hebrew vegans, pushing the narrative that if you eat meat, that somehow that you are breaking the Most High's commands. Now, I didn't go in to listen to their rhetoric about it because I'm not foolish. I understand what the scriptures say. However, I wanted to know, when I read this verse, when it talked about specifically here that every creature of the Most High is good. Every creature of the Most High is good, and nothing to be refused. So I got to thinking, I said, well, what if it's not created by the Most High? What if the food is not created by the Most High? Oh, we're going to get into it tonight. I'm just warming y'all up. Y'all know me. Y'all should know me by now. Y'all should know me by now. I'm just warming you up. I'm giving you something to whet your appetite. What if it's not made by the Most High? Let's take a look. In the beginning, let's read Genesis chapter 1, verse 11. Then Elohim said, let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants, and trees on the land that bear fruit with seed in it, according to their various kinds. And it was so. The land produced vegetation, plants bearing seed according to their kinds, and trees bearing fruit with seed in it according to their kinds. And Elohim saw that it was good. Remember, go back to that. Everything he creates is good. And there was evening and there was morning the third day. So let's go down some. And Elohim said, let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds. The livestock, the creatures that move along the ground, and the wild animals, each according to its kind. And it was so. Elohim made the wild animals according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, and all the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. And Elohim saw that it was good. Now we're jumping in now. We see a pattern here. We see everything after its own kind. Everything after its own kind. Verse 26. Then Elohim said, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. So Elohim created mankind in his own image. In the image of Elohim, he created them, male and female, he created them. Elohim blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground. So we're seeing this pattern of own kind. Own kind. And whose kind everything was supposed to be made after its own kind. Now, I took a poll the other day because, it's been on my mind for a while, but I said, maybe it's just me. Let me just go and check with the family real quick. And so the poll that I did the other day was about the food. I said, is it me, or have you noticed that food doesn't taste real anymore? Not vegetables, meat, starch, or fruit. It all tastes like a lab creation of some sort. And these were the results. 94% of you said, I sure have. And 6% of y'all told me, stop tripping, the food tastes fine. All right? So I'm going to read some of your comments. All right? It's not just you, and I'm afraid to eat any ground meat for some time now. I felt like it was not what the package reads. Could be human, it could be lab, or any other meat that could be cloned. Okay? Monica says, I thought it was just me thinking that. I'm glad to know I'm in good company. 78 Beth says, the fruit in the stores is horrendous. Sister Ruma agrees. The fruit is off. This brother said, Chick-fil-A don't even taste the same anymore. Okay? All right, so then Barbara talks about GMOs. She said that's not real food anymore. Right? Now we're not ignorant to GMOs. We understand that GMOs exist. But the question is, what is GMO made of? Let's take a look. What is GMO made of? We inquiring minds wants to know what GMO is made of. Let me see if I can pull that article up. Y'all go ahead and do me a favor and get those likes up. Get those likes up. In the chat, if this is blessing you, get those likes up. Just 1 second. I'm trying to pull this up here. All right, it's coming up. All right. Okay, how are GMOs made? Y'all give me just 1 second. All right, thank you so much for holding. It says, how are GMOs made? Take a look at this. GMO, genetically modified organisms. Okay, now keep in mind what we just read in Genesis 1. Has become the common term consumers and popular media use to describe foods that have been created, talking about creation, through genetic engineering. Genetic engineering is a process that involves, now listen to the process, identifying the genetic information or gene that gives an organism, plant, animal, or microorganism a desired trait. Then you copy that information from the organism that has the trait. Then you insert that information into the DNA of another organism, then growing the new organism. That is how GMO is made. Now, do y'all see something here? Because again, is it just me? But what I observed when I read how GMO foods are made is that it is completely anti-creation. It is deliberately going against the creation of the Most High. Like we live in a society that's anti-Christ. This is anti-creation. I mean, did y'all pick that up? Did y'all pick up that anti-creationism with the GMO? Well, let me give you a little bit more emphasize. Y'all ready for this one? I said, are y'all ready for this one? Okay, well, y'all know what we've been talking about. We talked about a little bit with the Congress folk and the choice that they made. And y'all know we've had conversations about this before, and I told you I had to be very careful about what I say. So y'all read with me now. Okay? When you see this word here, I'm just going to say G. Okay? I'm going to say G. But I want you to see what I'm seeing. Do you see what I'm seeing, family? Let's read. Edible G could embed RFID tags in food. Y'all see that? All right. G is extremely thin and strong, a great conductor of heat and electricity. Is antibacterial and can even hunt down cancer. And now you can have your wonder material and eat it too. The lab of James Tour at Rice University has demonstrated a way to etch G onto food like bread and potatoes, as well as materials like cardboard and cloth, where it could then act as an RFID tag. The Rice team is building off previous work and developing a new kind of material called laser-induced G. As its name suggests, this technique involves using a laser to heat the surface of a material to create a flaky, foamy form of G. Originally, that base material was a polymer known as polyamide, but later the team managed to use the same process to create LIG on the surface of wood. Now the researchers have managed to apply the technique to a whole range of materials. Honing the method through experimentation, they found that the best results come when the laser is defocused and makes several passes over the material. You see them? That's how they do it. This is the laser, and this is how they are putting it on the material. Okay? So what's the point of G in your food? According to the Rice researchers, these G etchings are conductive, potentially allowing RFID tags and sensors to be embedded on foods directly, telling you the history of the item or warning you of potential microorganism contaminants. Perhaps all food will have a tiny RFID tag that gives you information about where it's been, how long it's been stored, its country and city of origin, and the path it took to get to your table, says Tor. All that could be placed not on a separate tag on the food, but on the food itself. What y'all think about that? A G tag on the food itself. And by the way, my friends, this article was written in 2018. Okay? I want you to understand the timeline on this for a reason. 2018. Well before the outbreak. But there's something else you should know. That same company who just did this whole article about the G, 4 years before that, they did another article. I'm going to share that one. Let me pull that up. 4 years before, this is what they had to say. So in 2014, they said wonder material G could be dangerous to humans and the environment. This is what it looks like. Now, 4 years ago in 2014, you knew that this material could be dangerous to humans and the environment. But 4 years later, you begin to promote this thing like it's the next thing since sliced bread. You see how they get you, y'all? That says, I've been waiting for some time to write a headline along the lines of scientists discover a thing that G is not amazing at. And here it is. Everybody's favorite nanomaterial may have a plethora of near magical properties, but as it turns out, it can also be bad for the environment and bad for you too. It's easy to get carried away when you start talking about G. Comprised of single atom thick layers of carbon, G is incredibly light, incredibly strong, extremely flexible, and highly conductive both of heat and electricity. Its properties hold the promise of outright technological revolution in so many fields. It's been called a wonder material. But it's only been 10 years since G was first isolated in the laboratory, and as researchers and industry scramble to bring G out of the lab and into a vast range of commercial applications, far less money is being spent examining its potential negative effects. Two recent studies gives us a less than rosy angle. And the first, a team of biologists, engineers, and material scientists at Brown University examined G's potential toxicity in human cells. They found that the jagged edges of graphene nanoparticles, super sharp and super strong, easily pierce through cell membranes in human lung, skin, and immune cells, suggesting the potential to do serious damage in human and other animals. Now, how they know that unless they have put it in somebody? How they know that? But this is what it's doing right here. Y'all see the bottom piece? The graphene is penetrating a cell membrane. All right? This is what it's doing. And it says these materials can be inhaled unintentionally, or they may be intentionally injected or implanted as components of new biomedical technology. Now, this was 4 years before they put out this glowing report about how we can be put into your food and RFID, and we can track it and blah, 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 and we can all feel all good and buttery on the inside if we know that where our food has come from, right? Sellouts. They're all sellouts. This is what we have in our society. There's more. Now, I wanted to show y'all this from Fast Company. This Fast Company, y'all know, is a very prominent news source dealing with the new emerging companies. So again, they say edible G is here and electronics in your food are coming. All right, so they go on to pretty much talk about the same thing here. But I want y'all to pay close particular. Don't think that this did not, that this did not catch my attention. Y'all notice how they continuously, in every article, they continuously use the picture right here of an owl. Y'all notice that? Nothing that they do is accidental. It's all on purpose. All right? So I want to show y'all a couple of things about the owl. I found some of these things interesting, so I want to share it with you. Now take a look at this. This is the U.S. Capitol. You see over here on your left? This is the U.S. Capitol highlighted. What does it look like to you? How about your dollar bill? What's that little thing over there hidden on your dollar bill? Nothing they do is accidental, family. Nothing that they do is accidental. So what does the owl represent? I mean, they're putting it as a display for G through RFID in your food. What does it represent then? Okay, let's take a look. The owl is a symbol of Moloch or Molech, an aspect of Nimrod Baal. Moloch demands the sacrifice of children. And it was to this deity that the children of the Babylonians, Hebrews, Canaanites, Phoenicians, and Carthaginians were sacrificially burned. Okay? We don't have to get too far into the article. But it kind of comes full circle, right? Kind of comes full circle. Here we are, we're talking about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or Ocasio-Cortez. We're talking about the congresswomen getting arrested. Why? Because now Roe v. Wade is overturned. But the owl that they're pushing forth in the food represents Molech, which is all about child sacrifice. Very interesting. Just something I thought I'd throw out. Y'all can take and do what you want with it. You can do what you want with it. I got to give a shout out to my brother, Zay, because y'all know I've been watching Zay sometimes, and he put out a lot of wild stuff, boy. He puts out a lot of wild stuff. But I want to share this with y'all because it's all about food. We're talking all about food today. I want y'all to take a listen to this.
poisoned, brainwashed, and genetically modified without even realizing it. Do you like Skittles? Do you like to taste the rainbow? If your answer is yes, then what I'm about to tell you, this crazy conspiracy theory, is bound to blow your mind. Just a few days ago, a California resident filed a lawsuit against Skittles and its parent company, Mars Incorporated, suing them and claiming that the colorful and tasty candies that we've all grown to adore is unfit for human consumption due to its alarmingly high levels of titanium dioxide, a dangerous additive that puts its consumers at a heightened risk of genotoxicity. And for those of you who don't know, genotoxicity is when a chemical substance has the ability to alter the fundamental structure of our DNA. Titanium dioxide is commonly used for plastics, adhesives, inks, roofing materials, and recent scientific research has proven that titanium dioxide has the ability to bypass our biological membranes, circulate our entire body, and hijack our cells. The European Food Safety Authority has deemed it unsafe and unsuitable for human consumption and has been banned in multiple different countries. This is beyond alarming, especially when you consider the fact that Skittles is one of the many food brands that's owned by Mars Incorporated. And Mars Incorporated is one of the 10 mega companies that owns all of the food brands that we consume.
Wow. Wow. Wow, indeed. Yes, fair use. Thank you so much, Roma. Wow, indeed. It's everywhere, family. All about genetically modifying our DNA. Maybe that's how the pigs got to stand from 4 legs to 2 legs. They got genetically modified and became pig humans. But seriously, family, all of this, and we've been talking over the last 2 years about how the shot, the jab, is what's being used to modify our DNA. But the reality is that it doesn't even at this point matter, because they found many different ways to accomplish the same goal. They found many different ways. And a lot of people will say, well, again, we just need to leave the meat alone. We got to just go vegan. And let me tell you, I've had quite a ride with veganism. And shout out to all the vegans out there. Love me some vegans, okay? But one thing I find about veganism is that veganism is not for everybody, okay? Veganism, just like any other form of eating, should be based on your body. It should be based on what you can take in and what you can consume and what you can't. I was vegan for for a good couple of months, and I was thriving on it just fine. My kids wanted to be a part, or my children wanted to join in and get on the vegan diet. I didn't force them to, but they wanted to. But I noticed that there started to be a decline in their health, and I did not know that it had anything to do with the way I was feeding them. Because I'm feeding them, I'm thinking the best foods, right? I'm feeding them on vegetables and fruit and grains and, just trying to, and I was making some amazing meals and really enjoying the experience. But especially my youngest, his health began to decline. He began to cough nonstop. And it was like I was concerned that he might even have whooping cough at one point. And I'm praying. My husband and I come together, and he said, do you think it's possible that it could be that they're lacking in meat and in dairy? And I said, I don't know. So we began to look up some articles and found out that there were some families whose children's health declined dramatically once they became vegans. And they were losing teeth, and they were going through all kinds of situations. And some people even lost their children altogether. Some babies even died. So we have to understand that what's best for some people in their body is not best for all. But when it comes to the whole thing about veganism, what I notice is that people are just not being honest with themselves about how this vegan diet really is in today's modern society. It's not just fruits and vegetables like we would like to believe. That's what they push for to us, is that it's just fruits and vegetables. But it's not. It's not just fruits and vegetables at all. It actually is something very sinister, and I'm going to share it with y'all because y'all are familiar with it, but I'm going to share it again because it's just that important to do so. All right, let's take a look at this. And this is fair use. Take a listen.
This isn't meat. It's a plant-based steak, 3D printed to mimic the structure of animal muscle.
We're working on really good, really tasty meat that doesn't come from animals. Instead of using cows, we're using technology, in our case, 3D printing.
The alt meat market is exploding. Global sales could reach $140 billion by 2029, about 10% of the world meat market, according to Barclays. Israeli startup Redefine Meat is throwing its hat in the ring, with plans to launch its industrial-scale 3D printers to meat distributors next year.
We analyze the different components that make those beautiful cuts and try to figure out which are the key components that we need to mimic in order to achieve those beautiful cuts of meat. We identified three main components: the muscle, the blood, and the fat. These are the components that we need to mimic in order to reach the perfect, beautiful steak.
Redefine Meat's machine can currently print up to 13 pounds of meat an hour. That will go up to 44 pounds next year and eventually hundreds, at a cheaper cost than real meat. And it's not just Redefine Meat that's in a bid to win a slice of the fast-growing alternative meat market. Israel is one of the pioneers in this market, boasting numerous alternative and cultured meat startups. Aleph Farms is working on lab-grown steak. Meat Tech 3D is combining 3D printing with the lab meat process. Redefine Meat raised $6 million last year in a round led by CPT Capital, an investor in Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods. It's also partnering with Swiss flavor maker Geworden.
At the end of the day, technology is important, but what's more interesting is to have a really delicious and tasty food product that you can cut through and have a bite and be excited.
Now, do me a favor and shout me out if you're a real vegan. Tell me what you think about this. I want to know. I want to read the comments before I move on. What do you guys think about this lab-grown meat, non-meat? What do you think about this? I mean, because see, I thought the idea, right, behind being a vegan was that, you know, you're not eating meat, right? So you're not necessarily looking for the taste of meat. But let's just be honest, y'all. If you've grown up eating meat all your life, and then you go into a vegan diet because it's the trend. Like I said, you know, I'm a vegan that eats meat, so I'm a vegan. But you're used to the chewability of it all, right? Okay, you're used to chewability. What do you think about that meat? I mean, that printed meat. I mean, does it look delicious? I mean, you just got it laser printed right there for you. That's how it's made. That's how it's made. Now, since we're on the topic of the things that we enjoy, how y'all feel and the things we don't like? How do y'all feel about Bill Gates? How do y'all feel? I want to know how y'all feel about Bill Gates. Does anybody like Bill Gates up in the building? Okay. Because I want to know, right? Because, see, what we have to understand is that, you know, we're all being boxed into a particular way, okay? We're all being boxed into a particular type of thinking, all right? We think it's one thing, and then it turns out to be another, right? Animal farm, we're all going to work together. 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. Next thing you know, they're saying 2 legs bad, 2 legs good, 4 legs bad. We're all going to work together in this animal farm, right? And what we don't realize is that the intentions and the motivations behind a lot of the things that go on, they go on unbeknownst to us, but it's affecting us in a way that I don't think we're prepared for. So I want to blow a couple of people's minds tonight, especially the vegan the vegan community that is woke, right? Because we have quite a few vegans that are woke, and I love my vegans. There's no shame on you. I just need you to understand what's going on. Thank you so much for your gift, Stormy $7. I appreciate you. There's no shame. You just need to understand what's going on, right? We all need to be educated about what is going on. So let's take a look here at Mr. Gates. 5 ways which Bill Gates is making the world a little more vegan, okay? Now, I don't know if y'all are familiar with this idea that veganism is a tool of the NWO. There's a lot of people who think that the NWO is using and pushing and advocating and marketing veganism for a specific purpose. Now, before I read this, I'm just going to go ahead and tell y'all what the purpose is. A lot of the alternative foods are soy-based, but they are genetically modified soy, okay? So with that genetically modified soy, what it does is that it increases estrogen, all right? Even from the time a baby is born and the baby formula, it has an extremely high amount of estrogen. So what that does is sometimes it causes men, or boys and men, to develop women parts, breast, and they get lower in testosterone, their voices get higher. Emotionally, they begin to think like women, respond like women. They're not as logical, okay? But more importantly, with all of this added soy, it becomes a mechanism where you create a society of people who are docile, people who do not fight back, because it's the nature of a man to protect and to fight for what belongs to him. But the more he gets filled with estrogen, the less testosterone he has in him, the less he's inclined to fit in his man-like design. Y'all following me here? Okay. Now that's what the argument is. I'm not here to argue for or against the argument. I'm just here to present to you the information. You decide on your own how you feel about it. So Bill Gates, by the way, who is not a vegan, he was a vegetarian for about 6 months, but he himself is not a vegan. He loves burgers, but he wants to make everybody else a vegan. So what is one of the ways he does that? Do y'all see it? Number 1, he's investing in Beyond Meat. Isn't that what that company was just talking about? Beyond Meat. Now put a one in the chat if you've had some Beyond Meat. Go ahead, you ain't got to lie to kick it. You ain't got to lie to kick it. Come on now. If you've eaten Beyond Meat, put a 1 in the chat, okay? Because the truth is, I've had some vegan alternatives myself. I've had some vegan sausage, and that's how I knew my husband is a chef. So my husband looked at the back of the packaging, and he says, babe, this thing is unhealthier than regular sausage. He says, this thing is filled with so much soy, and it's not healthy. It's just got a bunch of fluff in it, okay? But a couple of people said, okay, the answer's 1. You love said, no, I ain't had none. Okay, Byron Cook, you said the Burger King, because they do have like an alternative or Impossible Burger. I think that's something like that. Okay, Impossible Meat. Okay, not Beyond. Okay, Talisha said no. Sister Mariah said, I don't eat that stuff. I don't eat that junk. Byron Cook said yes. Okay. Sister Ruma says, I had Beyond Meat crumbles and did not buy anymore. Okay, Vernon Sessions said no. Okay, well, I've had the alternative, not the meat. I did like a breakfast sausage because I wanted to know what this rave was about. And I was kind of wanting that chewability, right? Like, I just want to have that chewability again. But this is funded by our favorite Bill Gates. That's who Beyond Meat is funded by. Now, see, when I think about things like that, it makes me go, okay, all right, and maybe I need to re-examine. All right, let's see what else he's doing. Here it is for those of you who like that Impossible food. Guess what else he's funding? He's investing in impossible foods too. No! Bill Gates. I like this comment. Bill Gates, impossible human. Okay. Empty says yes. I tried the Impossible Burger from BK. Okay. Well, there you go. You ate Bill Gates meat. There you go. You know what I'm saying? Family, we got to recognize what time it is. We have to know on every side. We cannot be biased. Okay. Let's not be biased towards our own agendas. Let's not act like we always do it right, because we don't. All right. So he's investing in motif ingredients. And motif ingredients, that's something he's investing in with Jeff Bezos. Y'all know of, I think Jeff Bezos, is he the one who does Amazon? I think he's the one that does Amazon. Okay. So, and Richard Branson, they led a $90 million investment into the startup Motif Ingredients. It's an offshoot of tech firm Ginkgo Bioworks. The new company will work on ginkgo to identify vitamins and proteins found in milk or meat. From there, the ingredients will be bioengineered with yeast and bacteria via fermentation process similar to beer. The end goal is to make ingredients that can be used to perfect vegan meat, dairy, and eggs. Now, this company, they said, look, we are going to come together because what we want to do is we want the non-meat to taste as much like meat as it possibly can through bioengineering. Okay? This is where they're at now. This is where we're at. Okay. Fighting food waste, and he goes into talking about food waste, and this particular thing is about making avocados last longer on the shelf, twice as long. So they're going to put a liquid shield, okay, that produces gases. No, actually, it fights the gases that cause fruit to ripen. Okay, so they're going to put some sort of a gas over your regular food now, okay? So here it is. Forget, I'm not eating that Beyond Meat. I'm not eating that Impossible Meat. I'm not eating it. I'm just going to stick to my fruits and my veggies. Well, they got something for you. They're going to be putting something on the outside to make your fruits and vegetables sit on the shelf even longer, okay? That's what they're working on. That's what they're probably already doing, all right? So, of course, they go in and, his humanitarian efforts, blah, blah, blah. Okay? But this, my friends, that's who's promoting your vegan alternatives. That's who's doing it. And if one thing you do know, because it really has been such a heavy promotion of veganism. And I have to say, listen, y'all know me. Y'all should know me by now. I'm just going to keep it 100. A lot of what I notice about vegans, and this is not all vegans, but a lot of vegans that I have encountered, not everyone, but a lot of vegans that I have encountered almost have a religious fanaticism about their veganism, right? And I, too, was sucked into that. Like you're having a conversation, and it's almost like a pride, like, yeah, I'm a vegan. Yeah, I don't eat meat. No, I don't. I don't mess with that stuff. I eat clean. I like clean living. Okay, they have this attitude, like if you eat meat, that somehow you are less than them, and what's wrong with you? You don't need to be eating meat, right? And my thing is that once I started eating meat again, I realized how hypocritical I sounded, right? I'm like, man, I sound like such a hypocrite, and I love me some steak. Y'all, I gotta have fun with this. I gotta have fun with it. I'm saying, come on now. Y'all know it. Y'all know I ain't lying. Come on, see, that's why y'all laughing, because you know it's true. Okay, you know it's true. You've been around them vegans and like, I can't believe you eat meat, right? So I've been eating meat all my life, okay? But yes, I've always had battles with food because I love to be healthy. I do, and sometimes I feel like I need to detox from meat. And I will. And then that's when, I start to feel good about myself and start to feel like, yeah, look, I'm treating my body well and all of that. But the truth is that it's, this religious fanaticism it's really, it's something that we need to check, okay? Because at the end of the day, if you don't eat meat, then good for you. Don't eat it because you don't have to. And if you eat meat, then good for you because maybe you have to. You eat according to your body. That's what you should do. And I know the vegans in the building, y'all know I love y'all. No, don't be mad at me, y'all. Don't be mad at me. I'm just saying. Come on, let's keep it 100. So let's talk about this. Beyond Meat is beyond unhealthy. Okay? It's for those of you who feel like because you're a vegan and you're eating the meat alternative that is healthy. It's not. It's laced with all kinds of chemicals. This article goes in and tells you about all the ingredients that are in the Beyond Meat, the canola oil. It goes in to tell you how canola oil is made. I'm not going to read the article. I'm going to take this article. I'm going to put it here into the chat so that you can read yourself. But you take a look, okay? If you're going to be honest with yourself, take a look and see what's going on with this Beyond Meat and why it's so unhealthy. And you should already know if Bill Gates is backing it. What you expect, man? What you expect? Okay? What do you expect? But seriously, family, I mean, we have to think about this on all sides. Because honestly, the food is all over the place. It's everywhere. It's all over the place. It doesn't matter whether you're vegan. It doesn't matter whether you eat meat. Listen, it doesn't even matter if you're a real vegan. And I'm going to tell you why. Take a look at this. It's your food grown in sewage sludge. Here's how to avoid it. Now, I don't know if you know what sewage sludge is, but let me just pretty much give you the quick understanding of what sewage sludge is. Sewage sludge is human waste. Okay, it's human poop. And you have to understand something about human poop that is different from animal poop that's used as fertilizer. Humans consume a lot of toxic things. Drugs, pills, birth control pills, all kinds of things. And one of the key ingredients found in sewage sludge is Benadryl. Okay, the same one that's the antihistamine. If you have allergies, that was one of the biggest things that was found in sewage sludge. And that's what they're growing our food in. Okay, they're growing it. Are farms really using sewage sludge as a fertilizer? Or reading those words, the answer seems obvious. I mean, how can government agencies, including the Environmental Protection Agency, allow this? Well, not only do they approve of sewage sludge, but they proudly advertise the benefits of biosolids on their website. In fact, an estimated 4 million tons of treated sewage sludge is spread onto fields across the country, even though there's evidence that this process causes harm. That equates to more than half of all the biosolids produced in the U.S. Although you may first think about the human waste component, which in many ways can replenish the soil with nutrients, the real concern here isn't treated human poop. Many people are worried about the toxic contents found in that waste, including pathogens, heavy metals, and pharmaceuticals. Also, many experts agree that this is not a sustainable approach. Although economically viable for farmers when compared to commercial fertilizers, chemically laced compost, aka biosolids, and commercial fertilizers are making us move further away from what's needed, a harmonious relationship with nature. Okay? They say, why should you be concerned? The environmental implications are one thing, but the way in which biosolids threaten human health is another. That's because sewage sludge isn't simply made of 100% human waste. When studied, researchers have found that biosolids contain high concentrations of active ingredients found in both drugs and household products. Okay? So, again, just like I said, drugs, medicines, all of that stuff is in there. But they say, how can you avoid biosolids in your food? Now, they say your first option is to buy organic. However, nothing is 100% reliable or credible in terms of our modern food system. In theory, if a product has the USDA organic logo on it, the use of sewage sludge is prohibited during its production. With that being said, there has been some controversy surrounding organic compost. And many experts agree that there is no way of really knowing. Even when you purchase a premium organic product. When buying compost, if you see organite on the label, avoid it. Now, I was listening to Mike Adams break down this thing here earlier, organite. He did a documentary on sewage sludge. And he says how this thing right here, this is one of the biggest producers of supposedly environmentally friendly fertilizer, organite. But the components in it are all toxic, and they even tell you on the back it's not good for human consumption. But then they tell you it's environmentally safe. They say that the things in it can lead to cancer, but then they tell you that it's safe. On the packaging, on the promoting, all of the promotional aspects of it say this is organic, it is safe to use. And then when you get into the fine print on the back of the bag, it tells you it's not to be used as a fertilizer for your food. It can harm you and it can harm your pets. Family, I'm telling you. I am telling you. We're dealing with a very, very sinister plot. This is a huge plot to turn on us. Because how do you turn a society that turn on them the most by what they eat? Thank you so much, Ann, for the gift. I appreciate you. This is what they're doing to us as a people. They are literally poisoning us. They're poisoning us from our food. I know that a lot of you all are aware of what's going on, but I wanted to give y'all greater insight into details about how much is going on with the poisoning of our food. So you say, Sister Shonda, what do you, I mean, come on, you give us all this bad information. Like, how is that going to help us with all this bad information? I'm not here to make you afraid. That's one of the reasons why the tone in which I've come and spoken tonight has been one that's been light. Because when you're talking about situations like this, it can get downright depressing. You can feel like, oh my goodness, what is the point? Like, what do they want us to just like starve to death? But the reality is, family, that we don't have to be in fear. And the reason why we don't have to be in fear is because we do belong to the Most High. And he tells us that we are to pray over everything. Pray over your food. Pray over everything that belongs to you. There is power in prayer. Okay? Matthew 16, and I'm not going to pull up the verse, but Matthew 16 says, and these signs shall follow them that believe. In my name they shall cast out devils. They shall speak with new tongues. They shall take up serpents. And if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick and they shall recover. Family, we have to get back to that place where we actually believe that Yah's word says and means what it says it means. We have to get back to that place where we begin to be more dependent on him and his ability to cleanse us from the inside out. We pray and he gives us ideas about how to cleanse our body. I'm going to talk to y'all again about my children. When we found out about them and their diet change with veganism, right away we shifted them back to eating some meat, but we also were instructed by the Most High to get black seed oil and raw honey. And we got black seed oil and raw honey, and we gave it to them twice a day for about 2 or 3 days, and everybody after that was right as rain. Okay? They were doing fantastic. But this was after like a month and a half of dealing with this incessant cough. And I didn't know what to do. And y'all know I don't be trusting these folk out here. So I was like, no, I'm going to seek the Most High. I'm going to seek him. And me and my husband, we have already made that decision for our household that we're going to seek the Most High before we go run to any medical this or medical that. We are going to seek the Most High. We must seek the Most High, family. We have to get into that state, in that place where he is our first answer. He's our first source. We're not going to the doctors. We're not going to the pharmacists. We're not going to MSNBC or Fox News or all these other people to tell us everything that we need to do in order to get out of this system. The only way we're going to get out of this system is by putting our faith and trust in the Most High. Why? Because he's not going to take us out of the world. His word said that. Yahushua said, I don't pray that you take them out of the world, but I pray that you protect them while they're in the world. So we need his hand of protection while we're here. We need to know that he is covering us while we're here, and he'll cover us from the inside out. So family, I just want y'all to be aware of some of the things that are going down the pipe, but not for fear's sake. I want you to be aware of it for prayer's sake. Now that you're armed with the information, now that you know that they're putting the G inside of the food, now that you know that they are bioengineering this stuff with lab meat, and you know that they are putting sludge and growing the crops with sludge, now that you know who's behind all the vegan push for the vegan alternatives, take all those things to the Most High in prayer. Take it to him. And he's got the answer worked out for you. I see my buddy in here, and I want to give him a shout out. Grace and peace to you. How are you doing, Pastor Johnson? Good to see you. It's been a long time. So glad that you're here in the building. All right. So I'm going to take a look at these comments in the comment section, and then I'm going to go ahead and get out of here because I think that I've said all the things that I'm going to say tonight. Sister Talisha says we really need to get to Africa. Yeah, you know, the food, especially in Tanzania, I hear, is just so much better. It actually tastes like food, right? Like, I mean, I don't know the last time that I've actually tasted a meal where it's been like, okay, this is what I felt like it was supposed to taste like. And I don't care, like I said, whether it's meat, whether it's produce, whether it's, carbs, whatever, it all just tastes very plasticky to me. It does not taste good. It doesn't taste real anymore. It doesn't taste authentic. All right, let's see. Sister Barbara says, I keep some black seed oil and honey and ginger root. Yes. Yes, that's right. I'm telling you, that black seed oil, make it a staple. If you can make black seed oil a staple in your house, make black seed oil a staple, because black seed oil is good for, I mean, so much stuff. And I can't even tell you the amount of stuff that black seed oil is beneficial for. It's beneficial, but you got to get the cold pressed, the virgin cold pressed. I think it's like the Amazing brand. Get that, because even though it tastes like motor oil, I'm telling y'all, it is so good. Like anytime my kids come to me and they got like a little rash or anything, I'll go and I'll take the black seed oil, put it on, rash is gone. Sometimes, like if you struggle, like, by the way, if you're using deodorant with aluminum in it and you have like those things under your arms, those abscesses, stop using the deodorant with aluminum in it. Go use like Arm & Hammer aluminum-free deodorant. Because I used to get very bad abscesses, and they would get so bad that one time I had to go to the emergency room and get it like drained. But that's before I knew about black seed oil. So when I found out about black seed oil, I started putting it underneath my arm. And within days, that thing just shrunk and it was gone. I was like, man, I cannot believe how good this stuff is. This is really, really good stuff. And you can take it internally, and it does all kind of great things inside of your body as well. All right, let's see. Tangerines taste like water now. Yeah, it's just, it don't taste, I mean, nothing tastes authentic. Niyoseki says, I noticed while traveling overseas while in the military in Thailand and Dubai, the food was amazing. It was night and day difference from the food in the U.S. And you notice this, that depending on which country it is, they will ban foods that the U.S. will allow. Just like you saw that thing about Skittles. Like in Europe, they're like, no, y'all can't bring that junk over here. That stuff is, no, that's crazy. So every nation, I believe, has their own food issues. But I think that they engineer the food differently for different purposes. Or they create famines in different areas for different purposes. So the food in America, I think, is attacked the most because America is a proud nation. America is a militaristic nation. America has people that will fight. And so they have to make the people docile. then the only way that you're going to make the people collectively docile without them really being aware of what's happening to them is by what you're feeding them. So I think that that's really why in America we have such problems when it comes to food being healthy. But yeah, I want to get back to the continent and or to the continent for the first time really and taste what it's like to eat real food. Okay. Yeah, the seedless food, you know, that's definitely GMO. I've never been a big fan of watermelon, but especially now that it's GMO, I don't mess around with it. Yeah, you go ahead and watch this video. Definitely watch it over again. Yeah, that's right, Pastor Johnson. Black seed oil is awesome. Yes. Yeah, for sure. If y'all know some other treatments, let me know. See, because like Sister Talisha, she's like, yeah, you know, thank you for letting me know. We need to know. We need to we need to know things that are going to help us out. Yes, Pastor Johnson, you're going to have to watch that video. No Skittles. Leave them Skittles alone. Do not taste the rainbow. He said China bans USA wheat. Really? I didn't even know that. That's crazy. I don't buy bread here because bread is $5 a loaf here. So I don't buy bread here. I buy the whole wheat wraps, and I use them, you know, for you know, I make chickpea salad, like a tuna salad, and that goes really good in the wraps. But no, I don't mess around because it's too expensive. They have watermelons with seeds. They still do. I guess it depends on where you're at. You know, like if you go to Whole Foods, maybe. When I was in the States a couple of weeks ago, I was at Whole Foods. I was like loving it. I was like, oh my goodness, we don't have anything like this here in St. Thomas. You know, we don't have Whole Foods. But it felt good to just kind of, you know, be back into that type of a grocery store, even though, you know, it's expensive. And there's a lot of misconceptions about people in the islands. I think people assume that, oh, you got all this fruit and all this stuff around you. No, the fruit, it mainly is imported here from, you know, like Honduras and I think Mexico. I'm not sure about Mexico, but a lot of the fruit and vegetables are imported here. So fruit is extremely expensive here. And so a lot of people just don't eat fruit. So you got heavy amounts of people dealing with issues with high blood pressure and diabetes here because they really don't eat a lot of fruit. And even the fruit that is grown in the gardens and stuff, you know, your garden is only but so big. So it's seasonal. It's like, okay, so you might have avocados this one season. You might have lime, might have banana, but then that ain't even gonna come around again. By the time you wait 9 months for the thing to come. And then by the time it gets there, you eat it and it's gone in 3 days. So it's not just like it's just in abundance all the time, all over the place. Like maybe, you know, people try to make it seem it's not. Yeah, if you get those boils under your skin, I'm telling you, it's because of the aluminum in that deodorant. Listen, family, I'm telling you, I gotta leave a lot of this stuff alone. Leave these products alone. As best as you can, leave these chemical-based products alone. We have an awesome store out here, and I'm actually going to see if I can get to advertising this store because I think that they ship internationally. This is a black-owned, completely, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's like it's organic, creams, skin supply, hair wash, shampoos, everything. It's called Miss Naturalista. And I go there because, family, I don't be dealing with them. I don't deal with chemicals as much as I possibly can avoid them. I try to avoid them. So, like, I don't put lotions and stuff on my skin. I put olive oil, you know, or I'll put like what's that called again? The essential oils. But I went to the store not too long ago because I was like, I wanted something like creamier, you know, something that felt thicker on my skin. So, you know, our skin gets dry easily, even out here in this weather. So I went there and they had this amazing hand cream. And I got that hand cream. I started mixing it with my olive oil and it smells so good. And I know that it's all natural products, okay? Because these products, they're out here, they are just a mess. They're messing us up. They are messing us up. So do the best that you can to try to put natural products on your body, on your hair, You can condition your hair with apple cider vinegar. You could do that. You could wash your hair with baking soda. I personally don't care to wash my hair with baking soda, but I will use the apple cider vinegar for the conditioner. I'm still looking for organic, natural shampoo. I might have to make my own. But try your best. Try your best to avoid as much of the toxic chemicals and stuff as you can. All right, family. I think, yep, right there, coconut oil. That's it. That's what's up, coconut oil. It's good for everything. I think I'm going to go ahead and get ready to get out of here, family. I hope that y'all who have come in late, check this on the replay. There's a lot of information about the food, about the whole connection to Animal Farm, and just understanding that we as a people, we don't need to be dependent on the man. We don't need to even trust. You can't trust folk these days. You need to trust the Most High. I tell you, better trust the Most High, because absolute power corrupts absolutely. So trust in the Most High. Don't put your trust in man. When people start to get built up and start to think that they all of that in a bag of chips, you better be mindful of those people, because those people are the ones that will sell you out the quickest. So don't trust man. Trust the Most High. And just ask him to lead and guide you on what to eat. So anyway, family, I am getting ready to get out of here. I love y'all so much, and I will be back with y'all whenever y'all allows me to. And as always, family, love yourselves without hating your enemies. And until next time, family, y'all bless and salam.